Hello, I'm Ken Culbreth and I'm the Vice President of Construction for FBI Buildings. I started back in 1999 when I was approached by a gentleman from my church, and he asked me, hey, what are you going to do with your future? And I was kicking around the idea of going to college. I was kicking around the idea of a trade school or maybe entering the workforce, but that was probably my third choice at the time. And he said that FBI's actually got a course where you can get an associate's degree through a program that they had. So I thought, okay, why don't we do that? I like building things. So I jumped on the crew, jumped in the truck with him. I spent 3 years with that individual, and then I moved over. FBI continued to grow. This was when they called it design build, but it ended up being the Aspen Group. That was growing and developing. So I went over there and helped build some churches for a little while. As they became a general contractor, and me being a laborer, I came back to FBI and worked for a guy by the name of Eugene Wright, and learned I learned to mature. I learned how to grow up a little bit, how to treat people, and got a lot of mentoring from him, and learned how to build buildings at a pretty high level. I continued to want a little bit more and a little bit more, and so I started applying for sales positions. I really thought I could be a salesman and I could talk and interact with customers and help them build their dreams and that sort of thing. So I worked pretty hard to get into the office, but landed that role about 6 years after hiring on, and then I spent about 6 years in that position in one capacity or another, just making phone calls and selling buildings over the phone. And then I got my big opportunity to actually sell buildings outside, face to face with customers. And so I jumped on that as quickly as I could, and had pretty good success with that as well. Then a need came up for a management position, and so I was offered the role. And FBI has always done really good at putting the right leaders in the right place to mentor people and also create opportunities for people to grow. And so I took that opportunity and worked that for a couple years. And even though that wasn't my ideal dream, what it did was it gave me some management experience, which then opened some doors to manage. And then they slid me over to Director of Project Management. I took over the design department at that point and worked that for probably a year and a half. And that went really well. We were seeing improvements in projects and some of those things. So ended up, my scope grew into the Vice President of Operations, where I had the MTO team tucked under me, safety, truss plant, yard, all of that. And then over years of growth, we just continue to expand, continue to grow, and opportunities continue to keep presenting themselves. And so I was asked to actually just focus in on the crew, because it's just gotten to be so large. There's so many folks that want to be a part of that team. And then QLYFT was developed. And so I was able to be part of that team that developed and created QLYFT and implemented in the field. And so it's been a great journey. I've been here 23 years now. And I really, when I look at the future, I still feel like that 18-year-old guy that almost sees the world in front of him. There's so much more to take on. There's so much more opportunity in this company. So my recommendation to anybody that would be starting here, even if you start at the bottom like I did, it doesn't take a very long time to move up if you just focus in and keep adding skills to your tool belt and focus on others. And it'll surprise you how quickly you can move up and have impact for the company, your family, and your teammates.